And with that, we can officially get started. I'll officially welcome everyone. Good morning. My name is Atlee Keller, and I'm a project manager at the Local Government Commission. I will be facilitating today's event in coordination with the help from my colleague, Emily Finnegan. At the Local Government Commission, we strive to build livable communities, and we do this by ensuring economic, environmental, social resilience. And we recognize that local change is really impactful, but that it also requires coordination with state and regional partners. And that's why we are here speaking to you all, a broad and diverse audience. We are pleased to be hosting this event with Smart Growth California as part of the Funders Network Community Foundation Water Initiative. And as I mentioned earlier, this event will be recorded. Materials and the recordings will be available as follow-up. We will be uploading resources to our website, so everything will be accessible. As a general practice, when we are in our in-person meetings, we acknowledge the tribal territory in which we are meeting. And although this is virtual right now, we're joining from different parts of the state. In another world, we would be joining at the Capitol in the Sacramento region. So we would want to recognize that the Sacramento area was and still is the tribal area of the Nisenan, the Miwok, and the Patwin people. California Native American tribes never ceded their land, so wherever you are located is the traditional territory of a sovereign nation. We want to respect that sovereignty by acknowledging that this is their homeland. We also recognize the systems of oppression and racial injustice that have really impacted community planning and resource management over generations. Our current work needs to address that structural disfranchisement. I'm going to hand it over to Ofelia Bello, Executive Director at Youth United for Community Action, and she's going to give us further framing for today's discussion.
Thank you, Atlee, for handing it off. And if I can just take a second to fix my screen here. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. So, good morning to everyone from the beautiful Bay Area. More specifically, I am calling in today from East Palo Alto, California, my hometown. And thank you, Atlee, for taking a moment to honor the land that we currently occupy. As my warm introduction already mentioned, my name is Ofelia Bello, and I am the Executive Director of Youth United for Community Action, one of the nonprofit organizations that has been a part of this NGO cohort and has, my apologies, contributed to this work. So at YUCA, or Youth United for Community Action, or YUCA for short, part of our mission is focused on equipping young people, empowering young people to be agents of change, not just here in our community, but beyond once they spread their wings and leave our doors. We focus on making systemic change for 7 generations to come on issues of environmental justice and social justice. And we focus on empowering specifically young people of color from low-income backgrounds. We've been a part of some really transformative, amazing wins over the year, and we also have seen our community ravaged in some ways that are sort of beyond our powers and beyond our capacity to kind of rein in. But yet here we are, I think a testament to our resilience. And it's been a deep, deep honor to work with all of the other 4 nonprofit organizations that we'll get to meet fairly shortly that are very much in the same struggle in different capacities spread out across California. So we collectively wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the current tumultuous state of affairs in not only in California, but across the country, as we have seen when it comes to racial injustice. We'd be remiss to not address the context in which we have found ourselves doing this work, specifically over the course of the last 2 months, 3 months, even before that, COVID, and then, civil uprisings across the country. It's in this moment as important as ever to seriously address the need for decision makers to critically think about how past decisions and how future decisions have affected and will continue to affect people of color, and think about what can be done to prevent future marginalization and displacement when looking at land use patterns and resource management, specifically water in our case here. Just as with the Black Lives Matter movement, with the Indigenous struggle against environmental racism, we acknowledge that the people closest to the pain are also closest to the solution. So when we talk about the voices that need to be empowered, the people that need to be elevated and need to be at the table, not only at the table, but have decision-making power and have real, genuine partnership. It's more than input, real, genuine partnership with our decision makers when it comes to changing, making transformative change in our communities and in our state. We need to be talking about what that looks like with our communities of color, with young people, with elders, with all of the marginalized communities that have actively, both in legal ways and then in de facto ways, continue to be disenfranchised through through policy, through decision making at local, regional, and state levels and beyond. So just like when you go to the gym and you're sore and it's uncomfortable, the optimist in me looks at these moments of discomfort as moments of growth, moments when we can reflect and think about the ways in which we can push forward and take these moments that are really difficult and create real change. It's really an opportunity. These challenges are opportunities. And as people of color, as communities of color, we are no strangers to adversity. And that also means that we have a lot of wisdom, a lot of expertise when it comes to informing the ways in which we can improve our systems to better serve not just our communities, but it's all people. So with that mindset of not just, if it doesn't include all of us, then it can be none of us, then I'd like to take that mind frame, and that's the mind frame in which I'm stepping into these conversations and ensuring that the systems that we're creating, that we're wanting to transform, are systems that will serve every single person, no matter the race, ethnicity, age, gender, ability, sexuality, across all margins. And that's the mind frame in which I've been honored to work with our partners, with LGC, and that will continue to work beyond today. So with those words, I'd like to hand it back to Atlee, and I'm really excited for the fruitful conversation that I think awaits us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ophelia. And as Ophelia mentioned, we've been working in this cohort of 5 nonprofits facilitated by LGC, and the work that we've been doing has been through this NGO action planning cohort, which has built off a report from 2019 that you may have seen called Bringing Water and Land Use Together. And this was a report on the equitable integration of water and land use written by LGC for the Community Foundation Water Initiative. So now we are with the 5 nonprofits, including all of our NGO leads, as well as 3 fabulous Civic Spark Fellows who will be presenting today. And the primary shared goals of this group over our time, about a year working together, has been to collaborate on shared challenges, as well as opportunities, both regionally and statewide, to work together to address this clear statewide need, which through our conversations, we identified to be equitable engagement in public planning. So the goal of today's event will be to share with you a condensed version of what we've been working on and developing in terms of recommendations and guidance in that realm of equitable engagement. And this is our agenda that we will briefly review. We're about to go into the NGO panel. After that, we will have an opportunity for questions. That will be followed by presentations on the guiding principles document that is in your attendee packet. And again, an opportunity for question and answer will be directly following that session. And lastly, after a short break, we will end with the engagement session, which is our breakout groups.